Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a quick little beam shot comparison of the Wuben X-0, the Wuben X-1, and the Wuben X-2. These are a new kind of series of flashlights that Wuben's been releasing, their X series, and they have quite unique designs, beam profiles, and I just think they're quite innovative in terms of what normal flashlight producers offer these days. I mean, you get these sort of tubular designs. This is another Wuben light, the C3. I mean, this is like the standard sort of design that you get. Wuben is, as you can see, doing something different these days, and I think they are moving in the right direction because these ones are fantastic in terms of being able to fit in some extra battery capacity and brightness, but still being able to be in a form where you can pocket them a lot of the time. So even this one itself. So if we compare the sizes of the Wuben Night X-0 and the Wuben X-2, I mean the X-0 looks a lot smaller, but it's actually thicker. So when you have it in your pocket, it has, my opinion, a bit more of an impression than the X-2. So even though this one travels a bit deeper in the pocket, yes, it's a little bit wider, you actually don't feel it as much as the X-0. So surprising. So this one contains almost twice the battery capacity of the Night X-0, and it also has twice the lumen output, 2,500 lumens. Very significant. I think this one only produces about 1,000 lumens at most. Okay, and you've got, of course, the Wuben X-1 here on the side, quite a large, hefty flashlight. This one produces 12,000 lumens, but ramps down to 2,500 lumens, which is the actual turbo mode of that one. And it does that by using a fan here on the side, and also the fan switches on mainly in turbo. I find that when you're using it on the 2,500 lumen mode, unless you're really in an area that's a little bit hotter, it actually is able to maintain with just passive cooling the 2,500 lumens. Okay, but yeah, it's a lot chunkier than the other two, as you can see. LEDs, there's some differences. This one uses a LH351D LED, but you can also get the Osram P9 edition. This one, the X2, uses 3 P9s, or again, you can get the 3 times LH351D combination, and those LEDs are designed for better color accuracy. I've just gone with more lumens for this one, but yeah, this, if you want to prioritize color accuracy, those LH351s are better, but they do produce less lumens. This one here comes with 3 XHP 70.2 LEDs. I mean, these are incredible LEDs that produce a lot of floody light. And the lenses, I'd say, are very similar on the X2 and the X1. You got this 3 times orange peel reflector design, okay, as you can see here, and the overlapping orange peel reflector sort of design, okay. But if you look at the Night X0, and I can actually take this one out, but it's basically a TIR lens that has a bit of a metallic coating at the back of it. Okay, so you get more of a defined hotspot in the center, but also a nice wide beam. And I found that to be the case with all of these lights, that you get a nice wide beam profile, nearly 180 degrees, so that you can see into your peripherals very well. In terms of the UIs, also very similar. They're all locked out when you get them, so you have to tap this button on the back 4 times, okay, to unlock the flashlight. And you can sort of click and hold to cycle through the different modes, okay. These two you just double tap to access turbo, but you can turn it on and just cycle through the different modes by just click and holding, sorry. Triple click for strobe. Okay, you can turn that off. Another cool thing about all these lights, all 3 of them, is that you can actually get into a certain mode, click, hold to change the brightness of that particular mode, and it memorizes that. For example, we can go here. Let me just switch it on to the lowest mode, like that. And I go click, hold, and this will slowly ramp up. Okay, so if I want to keep that lowest mode on that, it will actually remember it. Okay, I don't, so I'm going to click, where is it? Oh, got to find that again. Click, hold, and get that to ramp all the way down to that, and then store it. So you can do that on all those modes, customize them. I think that's a cool thing that you don't see with many flashlights these days. In terms of the overall performance in the X1, just, you can't beat that. It's just 12,000 lumens. These two are just going to look like little toys compared to that. But at the end of the day, do you need 12,000 lumens? A lot of people don't. I think it's it's too much for most purposes. I can't see a time where I really have to use that much output. However, because it does ramp down to 2,500 to 3,000 lumens, and it can hold that output for the entire duration of the flashlight, I think this is a really good option if you're looking for sustained high output. Okay, whereas this one here, the X2, you can get that 2,500 lumen boost, but it ramps down to about 60 to 70% of its capacity afterwards. The Wuben X-0 steps down the most out of all three of these lights, okay, but it's still very usable, especially if you're in a low light situation. So it really just depends on what you're using it for. If you're just looking for a light that maybe you don't go for long periods of time, just going for a quick walk, an hour or something like that, hour or two, the X0 is going to be fine with that, especially if you use the lower modes, 1100 milliamp cell. It's not going to be the brightest light, but it's going to be very easy to carry around. You can even clip it to the front of your bike, to the front of your bag. Easy and convenient. It's got a nice aesthetically pleasing beam as well. If you're looking for something that has a bit more power, again, the X2 is a great option, but a little bit heftier as well. And it's not a front-facing flashlight, so you've got here, wherever you clip it onto, you've got this sort of light facing forwards, whereas this one, whatever you're clipping it on, but the head is actually facing down. So it's almost more of a traditional design, even with this one here. This one also has a magnet on the end there, so if you are working and you needed to stick it up to something or to just hold while you're doing a bit of work, this is a great little portable work light. Okay, but double the capacity in that one, and if you use it in low modes, it's going to last longer. And this is really just the larger version of that. Okay, so I will have some beam shots, so check them out, and if you're interested, I've got the links of these lights in the description. You'll be able to get 10% off these lights directly from Wuben if you buy through my links. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them for you. And remember to like the video and subscribe if you want to continue seeing me make more flashlight reviews. Okay, so I've got myself the Wuben X-0 versus the X1 and the X2, and we'll start off with the X-0 first on turbo. Okay, look at that. I'm actually amazed that it manages to reach right to the end of those trees, tints those trees. Okay, and the beam pattern is also so wide, it's got like almost like a 180 degree beam pattern. You can see right into the peripherals. Okay, and let's put this up against the X2. We'll turn it off first, turn it back on, and then activate the turbo, and we'll do the same with the X2. Okay, there's the X2 and the X1. Okay, X2. And of course, you're going to get a lot more brightness out of the X2. You've got 3 LEDs, 3 P9 LEDs in there, as opposed to just one LH351D. Okay, like a warmer beam on the X0. Okay, and definitely the X0 does ramp down pretty quickly. Look at that, you can barely sort of see it now. If I turn it on again, double click again, it's pretty bright again. But again, it just depends as well, because if this is the only light that you have on you, when it does ramp down and it's considerably fairly dark nearby, it's still bright enough to do what you need to do. Okay, oops, turn that on again, double click for the turbo, and again, this is the Here the X-0. What a little pocket rocket. Look at that. Incredible. It's holding its lumens quite well too. Okay, there we go, that's the X-0. Yeah, you can see with the X-0 it's got more of this hot spot in the center, and then a very nice sort of spill pattern, wide spill pattern all into your peripherals. Okay, X2. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare the high mode on the X1 to the left, and I'm going to compare it to the turbo on the X2. They should be pretty similar. So that's high on the X1 here to the left, okay, and it's able to sustain that for a long period of time. And let's try the X2. And look at that, like pretty similar, I'd have to say. Pretty similar. Let's have that. There you go, that's the X1 and the X2. X1, it's got a pretty diffuse sort of beam again in the middle, but the center has a lot more light. Okay. Get that X2 back on again. And look at that, you can barely tell the difference. Okay, I think the X1 just has a bit more, I mean the spill pattern is just a little bit wider, okay, a little bit wider and brighter it seems, but it's kind of similar, to be honest. I mean, it's hard to tell, maybe I'm just trying to find differences, but I mean together on turbo they both look, I mean high and turbo on the X2, high on the X1, turbo on the X2. Okay, I want to just test this for a little bit longer to see how long the X2 can hold the turbo mode. You can already see it's starting to dim. Okay, that's the X2, and you got the X1. Again, it's just holding that 2,500 lumens, and it hasn't actually turned on that fan yet in the X1. Interestingly, I mean it's quite a large chunk of metal. Okay, X2. Maybe I can reactivate that turbo again if I turn it off. There we go, back to turbo. So the great thing about the X2 is that you can just keep activating the turbo over and over again until it gets pretty hot. And yeah, so if you only need the high mode, and assuming you don't need to have it on for too long, I would suggest getting the X2. Well, otherwise the X1, I mean this thing just goes on forever. Okay. It's also a little bit warmer. The X1 beam is a bit warmer than the X2's beam. Okay. Now I'm going to have them both on turbo, and you can really see the difference here. So X1 turbo, and they're incredible. Look at that, 12,000 lumens. Okay, and the X2's turbo, I mean, it's just like night and day, really. Okay. 12,000 lumens, 2,500 lumens. Okay, X1 and the X2. X1, I can hear the fan starting to go. It almost reminds me of like a little hard drive. Little hard drive just spinning. Fascinating thing. Okay, X2. Of course, the X2 is ramping down a bit as well, which is good. You need that to happen so that it doesn't burn itself out. Okay. I'm super impressed with the X1. I mean, design is a little bit out there compared to, you know, your usual tube flashlight, but it just works. I mean, from an engineering sort of perspective, I mean, you can just fit all kinds of stuff in here, and this fan, and don't know, just it must be a lot easier to just construct something like that rather than have a tubular design. Okay, there's the X2, X1. Okay.